It is the 24th of August, and this day in Baptist history, our reading is the Lone Star. Our passage of Scripture is Ezekiel chapter 33, verses 8 and 9. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die. If thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. The ministry of Baptists among the Telagos, that's T-E-L-O-O-G-O-O-S, in India has filled several interesting volumes, and the missionary heroes and heroines of the cross in that area of the world will never be fully known until we reach eternity. Baptist missionaries from America were sent to labor for Christ in that area as a result of a report given the Triennial Convention by Reverend Amos Sutton, English missionary. Mr. Sutton challenged Baptists of America to the field of the Telagos in the 1835 annual meeting of the board as it met in Richmond, Virginia. Mr. and Mrs. Samuel S. Day were appointed for work on that field on August 3rd. And Mr. Day was ordained on August 24, 1835. The couple sailed for India on September 20th and commenced the work that ultimately would be such a great boon to the cause of Christ. Approximately 18 million Telagos inhabited the western coast of India on the Bay of Bengal. The geographical area involved was somewhat like a triangular shape, its three sides being from 400 to 600 miles in length, and at the time it was under British rule. The largest city was Madras, then a seaport of some 450,000 inhabitants. The religion of the Telagos was Brahmanism with its accompanying caste system. Reverend and Mrs. Day invested 4 years in preaching Christ with but little evidence of success. The first Telugu convert was baptized in the Pennar River by Reverend Day on September 27, 1840, in the presence of several thousand spectators. In the same year, Reverend Day lamented the fact that so few missionaries were available to assist in the work. He wrote the board as follows, and I quote, "Be not angry with me, for my heart once beat high in relation to this mission. Hope inspired my feelings and actions. Now my heart sinks or swells with a kind of desperation. My hands grow weak, or are nerved for a moment as by despair. Where are all the young brethren I left at Hamilton, pledged to the foreign field? Are there none to be found for the heathen? Have the heathen no claims?" End of quote. Because of slow progress and the inability to attract additional missionary personnel, from time to time serious consideration was given to discontinuing the missionary efforts among the Telagos completely. In 1853, the annual meeting of the Missionary Union were held at Albany, New York. A committee had been sent to investigate the work, and their report was rather indecisive about continuing the ministry. When the question was open to discussion in open forum, one speaker turned to the mission map at hand and pointed out Nellore, India. He referred to it as the Lone Star Mission, there being but one station. Reverend S.F. Smith, author of our patriotic hymn, "My Country 'Tis of Thee," retired to his room that night and wrote a stimulating poem entitled "The Lone Star." As the moderator read the lines in the next business session, the issue was settled. Many wept and sobbed during the reading, and all doubts were removed. Reverend Day had labored too industriously for the board to drop the field. He had persevered in the, and I'm quoting, "trying times of clearing the ground, breaking up the hard soil, and sowing the seed, the times that test patience and faith. Through all discouragements and obstacles, he faithfully persevered in his work as a messenger of Christ to these idolatrous myriads." End of quote. On one occasion, when his wife was in America due to her health, the man of God wrote, and I quote, "My heart is at times troubled and cast down because of the fewness of the missionary labors here, and the little success in the way of conversions attending the labors of that few, but my faith has not failed a moment. Great things will ere long appear, and many will turn to the Lord. Among the Telugus, ere many years pass, nay, I even expect to live and see and hear glorious things, many turning from idols to serve the living God. End of quote. But with broken health, Reverend Day was forced to resign the work in 1853. Returning to the States, Day was engaged as an agent of the Missionary Union for several years in Canada. Doubtless, it was through his extended efforts that the Baptists of Canada became seriously interested as well in the field among the Telugus. Thus it was that on October 18, 1866, several Canadian Baptist pastors met to establish the Baptist Foreign Missionary Society of Ontario and Quebec. The pioneering work was not in vain. Several outstanding missionaries joined in fulfilling the vision of the work on the harvest had given Reverend and Mrs. Day. The work ultimately became one of the outstanding missionary ventures in the labor of our Baptist forebears. Circling the globe today, there are weary missionaries who labor faithfully with little outward evidence of fruit. Paul spoke of this very situation to the saints at Corinth when he said, Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. To God be the glory.